Samsung's upcoming Galaxy S26 series is getting a lot of attention, and a new report has added an interesting twist to the story. It looks like Samsung may be planning a quiet but meaningful change behind the scenes, one that could affect the pricing, performance, and overall strategy for the Galaxy S26 and S26 Fla. And yes, it has everything to do with the return of the Exynos chipset. Samsung is expected to launch the Galaxy S26 lineup in February, and leaks suggest that most regions around the world will get the Exynos 2600 in the S26 and S26 Fla. Countries like Korea and Europe will be using Samsung's own chip, while North America will continue getting the Snapdragon 8 Gen Elite 5. As for the S26 Ultra, it looks like Samsung will stick with the Snapdragon chip worldwide, just like they've done before with their Ultra models. But here's where things get interesting. A new report from Chosun in South Korea says Samsung's internal divisions, System LSI, which makes the Exynos chips, and MX, which handles the smartphones, are currently negotiating a price cut for the Exynos 2600. Right now, Samsung wants the price lowered by about $20 to $30 per unit. Now, this doesn't mean Samsung will suddenly sell the Exynos models for $20 to $30 less. Instead, this gives Samsung more room for profit. By paying less for each Exynos chip, Samsung widens its margin on those models, allowing them to remain competitive without raising prices. This is especially helpful when flagship hardware costs are rising every year. But the important question is, what does this mean for users? Will the Exynos 2600 actually be good enough to stand next to Snapdragon? So far, early reports say the chip has shown strong results in benchmarks, but it's still too early to judge its real-world performance. Exynos chips have had mixed reputations in the past, especially when it comes to battery efficiency and heat management. So even if the benchmarks look promising, people are waiting to see whether Samsung can avoid the issues that affected older Exynos models. The Exynos 2600 is expected to be built on Samsung's 2nm process, which is a big technological step forward. Smaller process nodes usually mean better efficiency and faster speeds. The CPU layout is said to be a Deca-core configuration, a combination of one main high-performance core, 3 performance cores, and 6 efficiency cores. The peak clock speed is rumored to reach up to 3.8 GHz. But here's the part that's getting everyone talking: GPU performance. Reports say the Exynos 2600 could outperform the Snapdragon 8 Gen Elite 5 by as much as 29% in graphics tasks. That's a huge number, especially considering how dominant Snapdragon has been in gaming and GPU-heavy apps. There are also early rumors that the Exynos 2600 might even outshine Apple's A19 Pro chip in some areas. Supposedly, we could see 14% faster CPU performance and up to 75% better GPU performance compared to the A19 Pro found in the iPhone 17 Pro models. If that turns out to be true, it would be the first time in years Samsung has managed to leap ahead of both Apple and Qualcomm in raw performance. Of course, numbers on paper don't always tell the full story. Real-world results depend on thermal management, optimization, software tuning, and how well the chip works under long-term load. But even so, these early leaks show that Samsung is aiming high with the Exynos 2600. So what should buyers expect when the Galaxy S26 launches? If Samsung successfully lowers the Exynos chip cost, we might see more aggressive pricing for the base S26 and the S26 Plus. The phones may not be cheaper on paper, but Samsung could offer better storage options at the same price, or bundle more features without increasing cost. Meanwhile, Snapdragon users, mostly in North America, will still get the familiar premium performance that's been the standard for years. In the end, the Galaxy S26 lineup could become one of Samsung's most interesting releases. If the Exynos 2600 performs as promised, Samsung might finally erase the gap between Exynos and Snapdragon models, and maybe even create a new performance leader in the smartphone world. Only time will tell, but the early signs point to a very competitive flagship season ahead.